Today we're going to talk about protection.
Making more and more advances every year, like this is called Trojan Groove, twice the staying power in terms of lubrication.
Not that kind of protection. Get your mind out of the gutter. We're going to talk about legal protection for your business. Stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Scott Oots, and today we're going to talk about what kind of protection your business needs when wholesaling real estate. As always, make sure you're staying till the end of the video because there's going to be a ton of points that will help anybody at any level in this industry. Now first, my disclaimer, remember that I am not an attorney, I don't want to be an attorney, and I don't pretend to be an attorney. But this advice is stuff that I have used in my business, and it could potentially help you save deals you currently have in escrow. Let's take a look. Let's start with number one, the importance of actually having a business registered. If you're doing deals in your personal name,
make sure you listen to this.
If you're doing deals in your personal name and something goes wrong with that deal, say the seller didn't disclose something and the person you assign the contract to starts a lawsuit down the road. If it's in your personal name, anything you own could be part of that lawsuit.
No, God, please, no!
So by having a business registered, I prefer an LLC. I love the protections of an LLC. But you can talk to your tax professional and your lawyer and see which one works best for you. All of my businesses are LLCs. I love the protection of my personal assets not being part of a lawsuit. It protects me.
Protection.
Now, make sure you have the business registered because if that lawsuit does occur, they will sue your LLC and not you personally for the actions of your LLC.
I'm gonna sue your ass into hell. Get ready!
So make sure you register that business. That is going to be very important. If you're just getting started out and you're saying, hey, I don't have the money to do this, you can go ahead and partner with someone else that has an LLC. If you do a few deals in your personal name, I did in the beginning, you just need to be very careful as far as how you do that and make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed.
Dot the T's and cross the I's.
All right, so number two, when you go to set up your business, don't use one of those online companies that just does an out-of-the-box business for you. So there's ones out there like LegalZoom. Yes, they're cheap, they're easy to get set up, but the whole point in having a business set up is
protection.
If what they set up is a generic out-of-the-box product that they set up for everybody, do you really think that's going to provide protection to you if something goes wrong?
Maybe.
Wrong.
I'll give you a hint. The answer is no. So make sure that you guys use either a reputable company or you set the business up yourself. That's going to be very important. There is one out there, sundocfilings.com. I've used them in the past. They actually do a pretty good job, but there are some things you need to do after you get the documents back from them. So I'm going to talk about that next. And number three, let's talk about your operating agreement. One of the most important parts in a business setup is the operating agreement. You say, why does that matter, right? Scott, why are you even talking about this? An operating agreement is so important. It outlines everything about your business. Now, when you go to those online companies like LegalZoom, they just take a standard operating agreement that fills in the blanks and sends it over to you. It's the same operating agreement they use for almost every single company. Whether it's real estate, whether it's a weed shop, it doesn't matter. You're getting the same operating agreement. That's not good for you. Your operating agreement is what protects your business. You need to make sure that the operating agreement is written by an attorney based on exactly what you do. I set up my first business through LegalZoom. When I did that, when I had my first issue where I went to go after a seller, my attorney read my operating agreement and he laughed. It was like 3 pages. He rewrote the entire thing for me and my operating agreement now is about 45 pages. So it adds a lot more to it to protect you when things go wrong. Now, again, we're talking about protection in this video, right? You say, well, why do I need to use protection? Why do I need to do that? Because what happens if something goes wrong? You always need to plan for what if something goes wrong. You always need to make sure that when something goes wrong, not if, that you have yourself, your business, and your employees protected, because that is going to be one of the most important things. I've been sued. I had a guy sue me for a house that I assigned to him. Completely frivolous lawsuit. He's never going to win it, but it's been going on for 2 years, and I have spent over $100,000 on legal fees. Now, if I wouldn't have had my business set up properly, and he had the ability to go over and go after me personally, that would be a completely different story. So my business is fully protected from that. We're gonna win it, we're gonna get back the money on that, but it wouldn't be that way if I didn't have my business set up right. So I'm not saying if this happens to you, I'm saying when this happens to you. At some point in your career, whether it be year 1, I hope not, but whether it be year 1 or year 20, you will have something that happens where you will end up talking to a lawyer. And that could be you going after someone else, somebody else coming after you. Most likely it's gonna happen. It's the nature of business. People sue everyone for any reason these days, right? So don't set yourself up for failure at that point. Set yourself up so your business will succeed. Now, something I've heard from a lot of people is, well, if I get sued, I'll just close it. It's an LLC. It's not that simple. It is not that simple. And if you think it is, talk to your attorney about that and ask them that question. Hey, Mr. Attorney, if I get sued tomorrow, I can just close my LLC, open a new one, keep the same employees, transfer my money over. It'll all be good, right? That attorney's gonna laugh at you. They're gonna laugh at you. Now, I'm gonna just throw out there.
I'm gonna put it out there, and if you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Attorneys aren't cheap. They're very expensive. But attorneys are cheaper than getting sued and losing everything because you didn't pay for an attorney up front. So make sure that you talk to someone. Make sure that your business is set up to be protected when that time comes.
Protection.
All right, let's talk about number 4. I love this one. Do not make promises that you cannot keep.
Always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends.
So I've seen so many people get in legal trouble because they make promises in writing on their contract that there is no way in hell they can keep, right? So they'll say something like,
Oh, Mr. Seller, yeah, I mean, if you sell the house to me in the contract, I'm gonna provide you a free trip to the moon.
just something that you know cannot happen. And it's so far out there. Get it? Out there? The moon? It's so far out there that okay, that was bad. It was bad. It's so far out there that you're never gonna be able to do it. And, or Mr. Seller, in writing, I'll give you $10,000 to move. But you don't have $10,000. Right? So you need to be careful what you promise a seller and what you tell a seller. Do not tell the seller that you're closing on the house if you're not closing on the house. If your goal in your business setup is to simply go out, contract a house for a seller, and assign that contract to an end buyer, that's what you're doing. Don't tell the seller you're closing on the house. Don't do it.
Write that down. I don't have a pencil.
Well, remember that then.
Honesty is so important in this business, and we've got 5-star reviews all over. Sellers have left us so many reviews. Better Business Bureau, Yelp. We have some bad ones too. We have people that get mad because we send letters to them and they leave us a bad review based on that.
On with this mail. I hate all mail.
But overall, we have great reviews from sellers. We have great relationships with buyers because we will tell them the hard truth. If they need to know something that you don't want to tell them because you think it might mess up the deal,
First, take a big step back
and think how you can word that properly. Listen, Mr. Seller, I understand that you really want $5,000 to move, but what are you planning on spending that money on, right? Look at that question. So seller says he wants $5,000. You don't have $5,000. You don't have it to give to him, or you just don't want to give it to him because you don't think he needs it. You can ask them, Mr. Seller, what are you planning on using the $5,000 for? He might say, oh, well, I need to get a U-Haul and I need to move. All right, so being a business owner and we're in real estate, I know that the largest U-Haul is $39.95 to rent. Insurance is $14.95, just shy of $15 a day. They usually charge 99 cents to 120 a mile. So how far are they moving? How much is this actually gonna cost them? If they need to rent a dolly, it's probably 20 bucks. If they need to rent moving blankets, they're probably 10, 12 bucks a dozen. You need to know these costs. So you can go back to the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, the 5,000 is definitely a sticking point for me. I don't mind helping you out, but you know, you're also getting all this money from the sale. So I'm trying to determine how I can go to my investors and justify a $5,000 payment up front. So how about this? You know, if you're looking at a U-Haul, you're looking at, you know, getting that all rented, why don't I go ahead and give you 500 bucks that will definitely cover that for you. And then, you know, what else do you need? Let's make it 800 bucks that will cover anything else. You can make sure you get lunch for the people helping you move.
In-N-Out truck's coming in 10 minutes.
See how you kind of shift around those things? I didn't tell Mr. Seller, oh yeah, sign my contract and we'll get you the $5,000, and then find a way out of the $5,000 later. That is a big no-no. Do not do that. Make sure that you are talking with the seller and being 100% honest. Now, here's a mistake I see a lot of people make. You're in the moment, face to face with that seller, right? You're right here, the seller asks for something and you don't know what to do, so you just start just vomiting, just saying, hey, here you go. Yeah, I can do this for you. I can do this for you. No, stop. Take a second.
First, take a big step back.
Think about it. Look at your contract, or look at a piece of paper, look at your iPad, look at whatever you have in front of you, and just take a moment. Show him you're thinking about how you can make it work. And say, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we can do this for you. We don't typically do this much moving money. Let me see what I can do. And you're thinking through your best response to this seller. Do not make those promises that you can't keep. That's not gonna get you anywhere. It will set you up for failure. It 100% will set you up for failure. This is all about
protection.
Protect yourself, protect your business, protect your employees.
Protect yourself.
Protect what legacy you're building for yourself. Don't get a bad name out there for yourself. Last and final, number 5. Number 5, I love this one. So everyone follows someone they consider to be a guru in the space, right? It's like, guru. Your guru has provided a contract online that is just perfect for every single state and every single situation, and one size fits all, and they all have them. And you grabbed that contract and you decided to use it. Well, it just so happens your guru's in Texas, but you're in California. That contract may work for Texas, but it may not work for California. This may surprise you, so sit back for a second. We're gonna just get ready to take in this information. Get ready. Ready? Every state has different laws. Contracts are different for every state. Now, I'm gonna continue to blow your mind right now because this is gonna get you, but no matter what they tell you, your guru's contract will not work in every single state. I know, mind blown. It will not work in every state. Now, the basis of the contract may work in your state, but there will be some things you need to change. Number 1, to cater it towards your business. Remember when we talked about an operating agreement? Your contract should be built in conjunction with your operating agreement, right? Your contract should be built based on the real estate laws of your state. That is so important to do. So don't just grab any old contract. By the way, I'm gonna provide you my contracts. There's gonna be a link on here. And I know that half you guys are gonna say, number 5, now we'll just cross that one out. We don't need to pay attention to it, but you do. I'm giving you my contracts, and I'm gonna put the disclaimer here that my contract needs to be reviewed by your attorney. And here's my favorite part. Well, Scott, I'm in California, you're in California, I can just use the contract. Let's just
take a big step back.
We're gonna rewind for a second. Your contract needs to also reflect your operating agreement. So if my business is primarily getting a seller under contract a specific way and assigning that contract to a buyer a specific way, there's no way that your business is built 100% the way mine is. Maybe it's 60% and you do 40% of things differently. That contract needs to reflect 100% of what your business does, right? It doesn't need to reflect 100% of what my business does, and then you go out and use it and you come back to me a month from now and say,
Scott, you lied to me, I got sued. I'm screwed.
I'm gonna say, hey, go back and reference number 5 on this video. That my contract needs to be reviewed by your attorney. You need to do that. That is so important. So don't just take your guru's contract and use it. I talk to my escrow company all the time, and I send them people all the time. And they always say to me, they're like, Scott, who is this person you sent my way? Because this contract looks like they went online and Googled real estate contract to use now. And it came up. And they printed it, they put their name on it,
padlock it, and then you put the chain on it.
Turn it into escrow and said I'm buying a house. Okay, yeah, it'll work, right? But the whole point in this is
protection.
You can literally take a napkin, write up something that you consider a contract and all parties sign it, and you turn it into escrow. That can be your contract. But what protection does that napkin contract provide you? Right? Did you really write attorney's fees provisions in there? If you don't know what an attorney's fees provision is, that is very important, right? That is a very important thing to have in a contract. If someone sues you and you win, you want your attorney's fees back. That stuff's really important, and they're things that most people don't think about. So you need to make sure that you are protected. You want to use a contract with some meat, some teeth to it. You want to make sure that if someone comes after you, their attorney reviews that contract and says, oh, this is who you want to sue? Well, yeah, that's who I want to sue. Don't do it, because their contract's solid. That's what you want to see happen. I want to be able to, if someone comes after me, to refer back to my contract and say, hey, it says it right here, and you signed this thing off. Now you're turning around and sue me for the same thing? You should walk away now before I call my pit bull, that's my attorney, and have him reach out to you and change your life.
And I will rain down on a godly firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the United Nations and get a binding resolution to keep me from destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, mother. I will massacre you. I will you up.
Right? Now, it's important. Make sure your contracts are reviewed by an attorney. Now, that means your contract with your seller. Then if you're doing an assignment, your contract with your buyer. Now, don't have your seller contract reviewed by attorney A that had a 2-for-1 special, and then your buyer contract reviewed by this other one you found on Groupon, right? I don't know if Groupon's still a thing or not, so. But anyways, if you have 2 different attorneys review it, guess what you're doing? When you assign your interest to the buyer, you're assigning that seller contract. Those contracts need to fit together. They need to align. So make sure that you protect yourself. This is so important. I'm gonna tell you that I have spent over $200,000 this year on legal fees. 200 grand. Now, you look at it and say, well, I can't spend that to have my contract reviewed. That's not the cost of having a contract reviewed. That's the cost of already having my contract reviewed. Having one guy sue me for some stupid reason, right?
I'm gonna sue your ass into hell. Get ready.
Then me trying to get sellers to perform that try to back out. We spend that money gladly because it's a drop in the bucket for what we're making. And we do see income come out of that. Legal fees will occur in your business. You need to make sure that you protect yourself during that time.
Protect yourself!
You need to make sure that no matter what happens, let me back up. There's always a chance that someone can sue you and win. Basically, me not being a lawyer, I'm gonna tell you that court comes down to a matter of opinion. There's gonna be legalities that back that up, right? There's gonna be local laws that back that up. However, if you sit in front of a jury and you're the big bad business going after this woman that decided she didn't want to sell your house, right? And they're gonna look at this lady and say, oh my gosh, she has 2 kids. You're forcing her to sell her house? No, I'm not forcing her to sell her house, but if you sit in front of a jury, I don't know if the law really matters in that case. The jury's gonna side with who they want. That's the whole point in that, right? So you need to make sure that you're protected, but you're also not threatening court on people. You wanna avoid court as much as possible. That's the goal with it. So just have your stuff reviewed. Make sure your operating agreement is done. Don't use those cheap online sites. If you have to use those cheap online sites, pay an attorney to at least rewrite your operating agreement. That's gonna help you get to that next level, and it's gonna help you not just have a hobby today, it's gonna help you have a business long term. So that is gonna be really important in getting that done for you. All right, I hope you learned something today that will help you get your business to that next level. If you did, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, so you get notified as soon as we put out more content. All right, I have podcasts, office blogs. Those are my favorite things. You can see just how dysfunctional we are.
God, I can't do my first one. Yeah!
I'm gonna have live streaming soon. We have so many different things we're doing. If you are not subscribed to see this, you are missing out. So make sure that you guys subscribe. Make sure that you're watching these videos. Make sure you're hitting that like button for me. If you wanna watch more videos, stick around till the end. There's 2 that I highly recommend, and I'm gonna direct you right to them. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm Scott Oots, and we'll talk to you later.